All right, welcome everyone. This is another Manufacturing Month presentation. Our group today is HIS Innovations Group. They will be presenting. While they're talking to us, please have your microphone muted so that we're not hearing background noise. While you're here, as we get started, you'll see in the bottom left, there's a link to our Great Questions document. And that really is great questions that you can ask to anyone, anybody you're curious about their career. So that's something that'll be useful for you later, as you're talking to your parents and your grandparents even, or, any kind of question you have for someone in a career that's fascinating. The other thing we want you to do very first is down at the bottom right, there's a spot to check in. That lets your school see that you're here. And that way they're not wondering where you got to. The other place at the end of the presentation, we'd like you to go to the evaluation form. And I am not seeing the bit.ly link for that on the slide. I think we might need to scooch the slide down. But the evaluation form is where you take notes and that comes back to you. And you can use that, as you're thinking about careers in the future, or if you ever need to write a paper, that gets emailed back to you. But that's also the only way that we can give you credit for having attended today. So please, anytime you attend a career event or watch a recording of something else throughout the year, make sure you hit that evaluation link, bit.ly, and then all caps STC, capital eval 2122. That will make sure you get credit for everything you do in career exploration this year. Finally, before we get started, we have a Manufacturing Month scholarship that students in Washington County are eligible for. It's actually, we'll be awarding 5 students, 5 teachers, and 2 middle school teachers. It's $500 each. So this is a great way for you to get some funding for what you want to do in STEM. And this is, it'll be judged by the manufacturers. So think about who your audience is as you're writing. But what we want to hear is where you see yourself in manufacturing, what you do for STEM, how STEM affects your life, and how can we help you with that? So it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior, everyone is welcome to apply. What we want to hear is what STEM means to you, how manufacturing affects that, and how we can help you. And that could be $500 toward college for you, or it could be $500 toward a computer that you're going to use to model something or do STEM. It does, tell us what you want to do. We're excited about it. That's what we want to hear. Doesn't have to be an essay. It could be a video. It could be a poster. So look at the link, bit.ly STC Scholarship 21. Get some directions. If you have any questions, you can always shoot an email over to Heather F at WC Chamber, that's where we are, .org, and I'm happy to answer questions. It's all on that form. So while you're here today, make sure that you're present and participating, asking questions. Like I said, the Great Questions document, look at that, see what you want to ask. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat and we will fit them into the conversation. And then one last time, make sure you complete your evaluation at the end, and that's how we get you credit. So at this point, I'd like to welcome our speakers today. Kathy and Alicia are here from HIS Innovations Group. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you, Heather, for that rousing introduction or welcome to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here because I have a presentation to give you guys. Is that, oh wait, hold on. Is that showing up okay? Yes?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and good afternoon. We are coming to you live from HIS Innovations Group in Hillsboro, Oregon. Before we get started, my name is Kathy Romeo. I'm in organizational development here at HIS, and I have here with me our HR manager, Alicia Leviton. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So we are here to talk to you guys. Before we get started on all the exciting stuff in manufacturing and at HIS, I have a very special welcome for you guys from two of our employees. They are very recent Liberty High School graduates, and they have a very special message for you guys. If I can, there we go.
Welcome to HIS. We're glad you're here. Hope it works out for you.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Oops. Anthony and Oscar, thank you, Anthony and Oscar, for that very, very warm welcome to today's presentation. I want to talk about briefly the goals for today's presentation. When I started thinking about giving this presentation to you guys, I knew I wanted to give a very relevant presentation tailored to high school students. And I wanted it to be interesting. I wanted to give you guys information to get you thinking about the future and give you stuff to spark your interest and ask questions. And I really wanted to open your eyes to the exciting world of manufacturing and get you excited and engaged. And at the end of it, I wanted you to say, wow, that was really useful information that you gave me. Well, those are my goals. And I started thinking about how I'm actually going to deliver that to you guys. I spent a lot of time, Alicia can tell you, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, about the best way to present this to you. And really what I decided was I really need to start with you, my audience, the high school kids. Very quickly, in the next year or two, you guys are coming up on a very important crossroad in your life. There are so many opportunities and choices for you guys. Some of them are listed on the screen, and I can definitely relate to where you're at. I want to start by telling you kind of my family story. My husband and I both went to college. We got 4-year degrees. We went on to get master's degrees, and we had 3 children. And as they were growing up, there was no doubt that college was where they were going. There was no other choice. College was the gold standard. That's where you're going. There was no other discussion. And America backed us up on that. There is an extreme pressure in America that everyone get that college degree, no matter what it's at. That college degree is the gold standard. But so I understand the pressure that you guys are under. Now, my first kid went off to school, got a 4-year degree. Now she's got a nice career in the military as a 2nd lieutenant. My second kid started college, and then we realized, you know, our viewpoints and our opinions on this kind of started changing. And we started realizing that, you know, college is not for everybody, and everybody's not right for college. So now my middle child, he is working a full-time job in welding, and he's enrolled in the welding program at PCC. And he could not be happier. He could not be more productive. He's thriving and loving life. But, you know, to get there, it took us some adjustment in our expectations, which were shaped by America, to realize that, you know, you can have a very fulfilling and satisfying career in the trades. And that's exactly what my second child is doing. Now, my third kid, who just graduated high school, he's still trying to figure stuff out. He's working full time, and he's got some things. He's got a lot of different things going on. But you know what? Again, we kind of adjusted our expectations and thought, you know, it's okay to take some time to make this a decision to what you guys are going to do after high school, because the decisions that you're making at this point, right after high school, you know, they're very important decisions. So you really need to take some time to think about those. So having seen what my kids go through, I am very passionate about talking to high school kids about alternate routes. I feel very strongly that the more, not only in this case, but in all aspects of life, the more information you have to make decisions, the better decisions you're going to make. And if you guys gather a lot of information to make a very informed decision about what you're going to do after high school, you're going to be more efficient. You're not going to waste time doing things that aren't going to matter. You're going to be more successful. So I applaud you for being here today and learning more about the opportunities and educating yourselves. Even if you decide not to go into manufacturing, hopefully something in this presentation will spark you to do some research in other areas that you might be interested in. So now that I've talked to you about all that and gotten off, I'll get down off my soapbox now, and we'll start talking about manufacturing and HIS. HIS was founded in 1979 as, I'll stop being so dramatic, as Hoffman Instrumentation Supply. We started in Portland, like I said, many years ago, we moved to Hillsboro shortly into the life of the company. In 2019, we were bought by an equity group called Level 3, and it was a family-owned business until then. And so we're a pretty old company, but in the last couple of years, we've been going into new industries and trying new products and growing and adding a lot of machinery. So here is a little bit more about HIS. We are ISO 9001 certified. Why does that matter? It's really all about quality control. Quality, we have quality systems in place that drive us to do continuous improvement and meet our quality standards of our customers. And some accolades we've earned over the years. In 2019, we were awarded the Best of Hillsboro Award in the metal service categories. And in 2020, we were awarded from the Portland Business Journal, the 2020 Maker and Manufacturer of the Year. We also get very involved with our community. All these bags that you see is kind of a result of one of the perks we have at HIS. Alicia, show them your drink. Oh. We give everybody, we have refrigerators stocked full of sodas and waters and everything. And what we ask is that you recycle them. And we collect all those and then we donate them. And right now we donate everything to the Liberty High School wrestling program. So those cans are all bound for the recycle, and the benefits go to Liberty High School wrestling. We also do food drives at our location throughout the year, mostly around the holidays, but we do participate in those. We're involved with the American Welding Society. Something I just learned yesterday is that in December, we are going to be hosting a welding competition here for all the welding colleges. They're going to have competitions at the school, and the winners of those are going to come here to duke it out for some scholarship money. So that is going to be super exciting in the first part of January. We are also one of the sponsors for Liberty High School Sparrow program, which is an absolutely fabulous program. If you guys haven't heard of it, you should go look it up. And we also are participants in our community by adopting families and shopping for them at Christmas and donating. I think last year we adopted 2 or 3 families. So that's a little bit about HIS. Now I can already hear you saying, that's great, Kathy, that you guys are super awesome, but what do you do there? What does HIS make? Okay, calm down, I'll get there. Well, first of all, we are mostly a stainless steel manufacturer. A lot of these parts that you see here have been our bread and butter for many, many, many years. They are not only welded parts, but they're machined parts. We bend parts, bend tubing, and HIS survived for probably 40+ years by only selling these parts. Now, these days, we have kind of expanded how these parts are used. They're still sold to the end users, that these end users would use them not only in their systems, but also in whatever products that they may be making. We use them in our own products that we make. We make other products that use these parts. And we also sell them to other customers who put them on their website and resell them to other customers. So we do a tremendous amount of business and manufacturing of these parts. So what do these parts go into on our side to make other things? Well, these are just a few examples of the things that we do. This one on the left is called a damper. And we have made all of this in-house, except for maybe some of the screws or connections here. This goes on an exhaust pipe or some other type of flow, and you can open and close the dampers to modify the flow through there. And this blast gate works kind of the same way. It has a bar that goes in here, and it can lower the volume of whatever's passing through this pipe. Very technical stuff. I don't really understand a whole lot about it, but they look super cool. And we have a laser engraver in-house that we like to engrave a lot of stuff onto our parts. Now, these parts, they're not standard off the shelf. We make them for all different kinds of customers, different sizes, different options. For instance, if a customer came to us and said, I love this, but I want Joe's dog wash put on here, we'll do it because we're all about satisfying the customer. So we make a lot of stainless steel parts. We also make custom parts for customers. These are 2 carts that customers came to us and we built for them. Now, keep an eye, remember this cart because we're going to be referring back to this cart very shortly. So again, we take our raw materials and build some of these products. This is another, it's kind of getting redundant in the cart section. We do more than carts as well. But I just saw this product on Monday. We just got this finished. And I just think it is absolutely a fabulous product to look at. We're just a cool company. Like we like to put our stamp on stuff. For instance, if you look down here, you'll see that we have an American flag engraved on there. We're a very patriotic company. We have a lot of veterans that work for us. We love our military and support them as best we can. And then also, as you see here on the back side of this cart, you'll see another logo. We believe in better. That's kind of like the unsung motto here at HIS. You know, we're never satisfied with status quo. We always want to make things better. We want to treat our employees better. We want to give better options for our customers in terms of pricing, delivery, quality, ideas, innovation, everything. So, we just want to make everything better. We're never satisfied with the status quo. It's always a continuous improvement. An interesting thing that yesterday I was previewing this presentation for some of our employees, and one of our employees said, you know, Kathy, I really want you to say that HIS is more of a home and not just a job. And that is absolutely true. We believe in treating our employees well. We want them to be happy to come to work and to be fully engaged in the work they do and feel fulfilled. Because I know in the past, I've had jobs where I woke up and said, oh, I don't want to go to work. I don't like who I work with. I don't like the company. I don't like everything about it. You know, we try really hard to make this a place where people want to come to work. And that's one of the ways that we believe in better. HIS is a vertical manufacturer. I don't know if any of you guys know what that means. I didn't really know what that meant when I started working here. What it means is that we take an idea, whether it's our customer's idea or it's a blend of our customer and our idea. We do some stuff in the middle here, which we'll go over. And at the end, we come out with a finished product. Now this in the middle is going to be the heart of our presentation today. This is everything that we do in-house from the idea to the finished product. It starts out by talking to the customer and solving their problems. We're not salespeople. We don't mass produce products that we market. We solve problems. Customers routinely come to us and say, I need a product. I need something to solve this problem. And we work with them to get an idea. We send it over to our engineering team where they configure drawings in either AutoCAD or SolidWorks and work with the customer back and forth to solve that problem. Once it's perfect, then we quote it to the customer, which would include all the parts that we may need to buy to build this. Remember that cart that I was talking to you about? This is the drawing. For instance, we don't make these wheels here. We have to buy them. So that would be included in the cost, or these eye bolts. We don't make those. But a lot of the stuff we do make, such as this piece back here, we'll make that. And then we'll configure it and fabricate that. So we get all the costs that are associated with making this product. We give the customer a quote, and then they say, I like it, let's do it. And they give us a purchase order. And that's when the magic starts. That's when the manufacturing magic starts, I would say. So we start with our raw material. And as I said, we're mainly a stainless steel shop. These are the 3 types of raw material that we work with every single day. First is our stainless sheets. These come in a variety of sizes, a variety of thicknesses, even different composites of steel, depending on the needs of the customer. And then we do a lot of tubing. The tubing can be very small, it could be a 1/4 inch, could go up to 24 inches, or anywhere in between. It can be round, it can be square, and then we also do bar stock, which is a solid tube. And this is used mainly for machining. And in this process, you take the bar stock and you remove parts of the metal to make what you need. And we are going to talk about all this. So don't get excited and don't worry, we will cover it all. So the first step that happens here is our raw material, after it's designed and we know what we need parts, it goes into our fiber laser cutter. And our fiber laser cutter is a granddaddy of a machine. It is so awesome. It has one laser head, and then it will cut sheet or tubing. And they come from different sizes and they meet in the middle, and the machine takes care of it all. And I have a video that will show you kind of going through the whole process. All right, so that's our fiber laser machine, laser cutter that will cut the sheet and the tube. Now, a question you guys might have, which I had, and I only recently figured this out because I was so curious, was how do these machines know what to do? Like, how do they know what to do? You guys have probably seen a lot of different capabilities from different companies, but a lot of times what you'll see is an operator standing outside the machine with a display or an input unit. This can be pretty big, like Raul has here. It can be a handheld unit where they're moving buttons. It can also be like a video screen where they're watching something on the screen with buttons. You'll see all those in our in the next videos that I will be showing you. And what happens is this is known as computer numerical control, or CNC programming. This is huge. It's coming over a lot of manufacturers. Instead of doing a manual process, they will let the machine do it. And it's really programming the machine to complete the tasks. What happens is the designers will do a drawing like that cart that you saw, or mostly it's kind of like a part. And they'll do it in AutoCAD or SolidWorks. And then they'll translate that design into code, which is uploaded onto or installed onto the computer. And then the operator will do a trial run to make sure that it's doing exactly what it is. And then they'll actually run the machine when they find that it's doing it exactly what I want. So CNC jobs, like I said, they're up and coming. They're kind of a mix between programming and hands-on, but it's something that you'll hear over and over. So don't come and ask me later what it is, because I just told you guys what it is. All right. So next up on our list is a visit to our tube bending centers. We have 3 tube benders here that will handle tubes, round tubes that are outside diameter, anywhere from 1/4 inch all the way up to 6 inches in diameter. Now, if you think 1/4 inch, that's pretty small, and 6 inches is pretty big. To do these by hand would be very, very hard. So this video will kind of run you through our 3 machines. What you'll see is you'll see the screen of CNC programming. You'll see a trial run of the bend, and then you'll see the actual bend when it happens. And here we go. There you go. Now that shows a great example of the engineering drawing and the final product. Now, those tubes that you saw, when I saw this part, I'm like, what is this tube used for? And I had to go find out, but I did. And that small tube that we just saw is used right here twice to make this bypass valve for one of our customers. Now, we don't make this valve, but we do make this tube, and we assemble these connectors and swage these together. So that's one example. The tube that you saw in the middle that had the several bends on it, we sell those locally to a diesel shop, and they use those tubes as part of a diesel retrofit kit for trucks. Now, benefits, you may be curious why, besides the effort that the computer bends these instead of human, what are other benefits of bent tubing versus just welding them together? Well, first of all, welds can fail. If you have a very nasty chemical going through a pipe and you have a weld fail, that could be catastrophic. It's also faster to do it on the machine rather than have it done by hand. And it's also more efficient. Can be very accurate. Before, I saw some of our employees bending tubes. They put it in something and they would actually bend it by hand. And there's a lot of room for error in that. And I think one of the most important features is that when you have stuff going through the pipes, there's a whole lot less friction going through because there's no welds for it to run over. So lots of benefits to tube bending, excuse me. So next we'll talk about CNC machining. Again, the computer numeric control machining. They're programming the machine what to do. And again, to remind you, a lot of the machining, they take that solid bar stock, they slice off a piece, and then they put it in the machine to do what it needs to do. In this video, the bar stock has already been drilled out in the middle, and what they're doing is they're drilling some tap holes that will allow a screw to go in and connect it to something else. Take a look at that. All right, so this piece at the end is a great example of a lot of different processes to put this together. All these parts would probably be machined parts, all the holes, all these grooves in here. And then you would also cut the tubing to whatever lengths you needed here. And then all this would be welded together by welders. And by the way, I learned yesterday that when they are doing the machining, all that water or liquid that you saw is coolant to keep everything nice and cool, because there's a lot of friction when they're drilling metal. So after we've cut our parts, bent our tubes, and machined our parts, we're kind of ready to start putting stuff together. And the first stop we do is our robotic welder. Oh, yes.
Before you go on,
okay.
Derek had a great question in the chat. He
Okay.
is wondering what powers the tube bender. Is that hydraulic or is it something else?
That is a great question. I do not know. Maybe you could text someone and find out, Alicia.
All righty. We'll get back to that then. You go on.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you for asking. What Alicia and I tell people in our interviews is that we are not the technical, we're not really the technical people, but we do our best to talk about that. So hopefully we'll find you an answer. So next, our robotic welders. In this video, what you'll see at the beginning is you'll see our operator with his handheld device. He is actually going to be doing a dry run with the robot welder. This video is sped up a little bit, so it might seem a little jerky, but we wouldn't want to sit here all day to watch this, right? We have to make some efficiencies. And then it was working properly, so then he does a run on it. So take a look at this. All right, so what you saw there, the welder was actually welding on a tube like this, welding a flange on top, and going around the inside of the tube and welding that. Now, you might be wondering, what are the benefits, or why would anyone want to put in robot welders? Well, for one thing, they're very reliable. I was talking to some of our employees yesterday who work on the robot welder, and they say that the welds that come out are absolutely the same every time. So there's much less chance for error there. It's also faster. It allows for higher volume to put stuff through. And what I like best about it is that the robot will handle all these repetitive tasks and welds without getting bored. Because if we had an order for 300 of these, and I said, hey, Alicia, I need you to weld 300 of these back to back to back, she would probably get pretty bored. So we let the robot do a lot of those welds for us. So then, but I don't want you guys to think that we're putting our welders out of business, because robot welders, there's a lot of things they can do, but there's a lot of things that they cannot do either. So we do have a robust staff of welders here, close to 20 welders. And we do many different types of welding here. We do gas tungsten arc welding, which is also known as TIG. We do MIG welding. We also do orbital welding, which is, you'll see at the end of this video, it's a machine that you put your pipe in and it welds around the outside, a little bit like a robot, I like to say. And we also do turntable welding, which is where you'll see that also in this video, where you put something on and the turntable goes, and you basically, the welder holds it there while it's turning, and it makes for a very nice weld. And it's almost essential when you're welding around things like this, because as you could imagine, it would be pretty hard to get around and weld all that if it wasn't turning. So here is a preview of all of our different welding here at HIS. So you guys might have seen it, that display, that's CNC orbital welding. That's my new catchphrase these days, is CNC programming. Now, you might think, this is awesome, this orbital welder welded that and you're done. Well, what we always do is we finish all our products and take off this color that the weld leaves behind, because that's just part of what we do, is to finish it all. The orbital welder, they come in many different sizes depending on the diameter of the pipe, but the purpose of the orbital welder is to handle long pieces of pipe that cannot go on the spool. So this is not that long. It could go on the spool to turn around, but a very tall or long pipe wouldn't be effective to go on the spool. Okay, and in addition to these types of welding, one thing we do is we build frames. This is for one of our customers in the extraction industry called Luna Technologies. They came to us with their whole design and they wanted us to build their frame for them. Now we're going to be talking about Luna again and again in different sections of this presentation. So just remember Luna, and this is the frame that we built for them. All right. Now,
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
Yeah, I do have an answer to the question. So the tube benders are all electric. So we have decided to go the electric route. It's better for energy consumption. It's quieter, it's cleaner, and then it makes it easier for maintenance as well. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Alicia. That was so awesome. All right. On a lot of our sheet metal pieces, such as this one that you'll see right here, after we cut them, we run them through a grainer, which not only removes any kind of spurs or burrs that might be left behind in the cutting process, but it puts a nice grain on the product, because a lot of our customers like their parts to look nice and shiny, and so we accommodate that. Now, here's our So this works much like a wood planer does. It has huge rolls of sandpaper in there that you can push through. It can do sheet metal. It can also do flat tubes that go in. Before it was welded together, you could put it on all the different sides to put the finish or the grain on there as it goes. All right. Sometimes our sheet metal needs to get bent into different configurations if we're making a shelf or anything like that. So we have a press brake that will do that. I'm sure you can probably bend things manually. There's probably some hydraulic things to do that, but we prefer the press brake. This video that you'll see, what you'll see is the operator consulting the drawing and laying it out, and you'll see the nice press brake. One thing I want to call your attention to is when you see the full piece, what you'll notice is that there's round holes all around the edges taken out. Those were taken out when it was in the laser, and that is so it can be attached to something else wherever its final resting place is going to be. So as you see, it's just a perfect bend. Now, I won't say that this is a fail-safe process because the operator really does need to know how to read the drawing to be able to position the piece in there correctly. Because if you put it in sideways and the machine bent it, it's going to be all messed up. So the machine operator does need a sense of understanding on how the machine works, how the drawing works, and how even the bend radius and how that how all that works. One of the next stops on our virtual tour today is our powder coat operation. In the summer of 2020, we installed a full-blown powder coat operation. That's 3 sections. It's a spray booth, a steam wash booth that goes in, and all the parts are steam cleaned to get rid of any residue or oils that might be left on. And then once that's dry, it goes into a spray booth where they magnetize the metal so that the plastic spray adheres to it. Once it's fully coated, it goes into the oven at 425 degrees and bakes on the powder coat into whatever color you want it to be. It's a fantastic process. And here's a quick video that shows that process. So that was a super quick tour through the powder coat, but as you see on this product here, it's got a gray powder coat that protects it from the elements. It gives it a very durable finish, and what I like best is that it just looks super clean and nice. We love powder coating stuff here at HIS. One of the things we did last summer was we worked with Wasco Parks District, and we refurbished their merry-go-round. And this is some of the parts that we took apart, we repaired, and then we powder coated them all in different colors. And then we also, what I love about being a vertically integrated company is that we can make stuff for our own uses. For instance, our powder coat area, our powder coat oven needed a shield there. So we cut that piece on our laser and we powder coated it, and then we powder coated a second sheet to go behind here for the cutouts. And it's just a fabulously beautiful, functional sign that actually serves a purpose. One of our capabilities here is also electrical mechanical assembly. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but going back to our friend, our company Luna, this is their final extraction product that they designed. what they did after, oops, I was testing out earlier and I drew on here. Sorry, ignore that. They came to us with their design and we built their frame. And then they said, hey, can you guys assemble this? And we said, absolutely. So this assembly is electrical. There are some electrical components and there are some mechanical components there as well. Now, remember when I told you we were 95% stainless steel? We do have some plastics capabilities as well. We do plastic welding, which I say is a really fancy term for heating up the plastic and sticking it together, but it's really, really much more complicated than that. To build something with plastic, you still have to go through the design process, and then you have to make your parts. And in this video, what I'm going to show you is how we're cutting out parts and designing things for some of our products. All right, I just put that in to make sure you guys are awake. The first video you saw was they were kind of engraving our logo on this closed cell foam that we use when we need to package some of our products. And if you're curious what kind of plastic products we also make, this is a great example of something we just recently made. It's a clean room cart. It's made out of plastic. You see our design. Of course, we bought the wheels and we built this for a customer. Now, to give you a kind of a nice rounded viewpoint, again, our friend Luna, this is a video that shows, it's a time-lapse video of us building their frame, as well as some close-ups of some of the assembly stuff. All right, I like that. Ding. Okay, then after we assemble everything, we build everything, it has to go through our quality assurance and quality control area. I went down there yesterday to visit with them and was able to film them doing 3 separate things. I want to call your attention to the ferro arm, which is in the second part of the video. And while he's touching the product with the arm, watch the computer screen behind, because the computer screen is loaded with the specific tolerances that need to be present on what he's measuring, and you can see it forming on the screen. So we'll run through this real quick. So what he's doing at the end there, he's doing that piece is under vacuum. It's sealed and they're got a vacuum on it. He's doing a leak test. So after everything has gone through quality control, it's ready to be packed and shipped to the customer. We can ship we can ship locally in our own truck. We can ship internationally. We can ship it through UPS. We do it all over the place. Now, I can hear you guys already saying, how do I get into manufacturing after I've learned all this? There's many different ways that you guys can enter. You can go to trade school. There's apprenticeships. You can do internships through different companies. And you can also do informal on-the-job training. quick story is after we did our powder coat operation, I was trying to find a powder coat operator and I was not having much luck. And so I thought, I'll just go to the powder coat school and get somebody who just graduated. There are no powder coat schools. Everybody who learns powder coating does it on the job. So that's one way that you can do it. And if you get into a company, you can start at the start. Our entry-level positions here are in the warehouse as a material handler or as a shop helper. We do have success stories. I'll tell you one really quick because I know I'm running short on time. We had a guy in our warehouse who was in shipping and receiving, and he was given some opportunities to do some projects. He embraced them and did them wonderfully, and now he's a welder, and he is so happy, where he wasn't so happy being a material handler. So you can, having mechanical skills is very helpful. If you like to change the oil in your car, if you like to change out and get mechanical with a lot of things, that is a skill that is very helpful in a lot of industries. And know this, in manufacturing, you will get dirty. So keep that as you, this kid right here, this is my kid, by the way, he's filthy, but you know what? That's what happens in manufacturing. A lot of manufacturing jobs, I will say. If you have a willingness to learn and help where needed, you will thrive in an entry-level position in a manufacturing area. And also being very flexible will help you as well. Being very curious. If you get done with the job you're doing and you see the robot welder, hey, Alicia, how does that robot welder work? How can I start getting on that? Can I help, load and unload the robot? Absolutely. We like to develop our workers here and allow them the flexibility to learn different areas. And also being a hard worker and ethical conduct, those are all things that will take you far. I talked to a lot of people at HIS, and these are the things that they told me, that if you possess these and you demonstrate these, if you get into an entry-level position, those will do well for you. And above all, attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. And if you want to see what our job openings are, you can go to hisoregon.com and go to the careers tab, and then you can click on the current openings, and that will take you to our Indeed page, which will show you all of our openings. I want to thank you all for attending today. We will have some time for some questions. If you want to reach out to me, you may reach me at kathyromeo@hisoregon.com. I want to let everybody know that if you want to see all this in person, here's an opportunity. We are having an open house in December. And if you want to get on the invite list, simply send me an email with who you are, where you're from, and I will make sure you get on the invite list. All right. Woo. What question? So do we have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
So this first question says, where do you get your raw materials?
We buy our raw materials from a variety of sources, locally and overseas. And currently there is some supply chain issues with steel. I believe there was some issues with some of the factories that make a lot of the tubing. So yeah, we get them from a lot of different sources.
And then the second one says, is the original design reused for other customers?
Alicia, do you know that?
Well,
The original design for...
I'm not sure I understand the question. Sometimes, so just to explain, sometimes a customer will give us a drawing, it's their drawing, and they ask us to manufacture it and produce it. But other times customers will approach us and they will have a problem that they need a solution to, and we will design our own drawing to help them fix that problem. And then it looks like we have another one here. What education requirements, college degrees, licenses are needed for entry-level workers and mid-level workers?
So for, well, do you want to answer? Okay, so for entry level, we just hired 3 or several high school graduates. Really what we look at is their attitude, and if they have some sort of a mechanical background, we ask people what they do in their spare time. If they say, I like to tear apart motors and rebuild them, that's awesome. But you don't have to have that. Really, it's all about attitude and personality, and a willingness to work. So for the entry level, we even had 16-year-olds working here. We do those mostly during the summer. But for upper level, for instance, this gentleman here, he's also my kid. He started as a shop helper, and then he started doing welding, and then they gave him internal welding tests to get certified in order to do more jobs. So he's working his way through the certification process, and he's also attending classes at PCC. I know just because I'm involved in the welders that there is a 2-year associate's degree you can get from Portland Community College that will run you through all the basics of welding, talk to you about how to read blueprints and a whole bunch of technical information about what kind of welds do you use here. For a lot of our other positions, such as the tube benders or the laser operators or powder coaters, a lot of times you just kind of grow into those positions. I talked to our robotic operator today. He said he grew up, his dad was a mechanic, he got into it, he started welding, and then this opportunity fell into his lap because we needed a robotic welder operator, and he showed interest in it. We sent him to a class to learn how to train the robot, and now he is doing an absolute fantastic job, and he loves it as well. So I hope that answers your question. Really, it kind of depends on the individual and opportunities that you create for yourself.
That's all the questions I have.
All right. Well, again, if you think of anything in the future, you can always email me at kathyromeo@hisoregon.com, and I'll do my best to help you out.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time, and I'm so glad that we had an audience here to ask some questions. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording in just a sec, and then we'll say goodbye. If people want to put some thank yous in the chat or turn on and say thank you in person, we'd appreciate it.
Perfect.
So here is the end of the recording. Thank you.
Thank you.